A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of what we have till now been calling the BW Hotelier, the GM show, season 2. I will announce in a bit a change in the nomenclature. We began well with 2 good shows last week up in the north, to be precise, Delhi, watched by a huge BWH audience across our platforms. Quick into the routine, I'm sure going by the numbers, most of you have watched it live and also the recordings. While I welcome you all now to the third episode of this second season of the much acclaimed, changed, Diversey BW Hotelier, the GM show, and this time the first one of our 2 shows in Mumbai today and tomorrow. I also welcome Diversey as our presenting partner for the entire GM show series, season 2, which is now rebranded. Like I have always maintained, this is that one show that has helped us present to you all some of the finest hospitality, general management, leadership, and talent, ones who will lead this industry in times to come. The reason why we do the GM show virtually is because it helps us reach all GMs and present them across to you without having to pull them out physically. I've always maintained hospitality is a 24/7, 365 days job. And it requires a lot of rigor and time. On the table are some very important topics and issues to discuss, current and futuristic, and for us to find a way forward. The format of the series is regional, where we cover the north, west, south, east. Then we get into the northeast and central with 2 shows a week, every Thursday and Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time. I would request you to block your schedule and stay tuned and watch us. The show will be relayed online on weBBlast.com and our various social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Be there, follow us, encourage us to bring you more such gems. And last but not the least, let me thank you all for all your encouragement and support. And please follow our social media. For those of you who missed watching the show live last week, don't stress. The show recordings can be viewed on weBBlast.com and our various social media platforms. Time to now get on with the show with an introduction to the show topic and all the speakers and the moderator. The topic today before us is environment, sustainability, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Are they mere fashionable terms? Look, environment, sustainability, reduce, reuse, and recycle. There is a lurking fear with us across the planet that it is in trouble unless we move now and fast to undo the damage. But the good thing is we are all aware, everybody is taking big strides into controlling the mess that has happened over the past few decades. Permit me to now begin with an introduction to our moderator, my good friend, and a very senior hotelier, Atul Bhalla. He needs no introduction, but permit me to read it out. Atul is the area manager West and East India for the ITC hotels and is also the general manager for the ITC Maratha. Welcome to the show, Atul. All right, there is Atul. I shall now head in and bring in our first speaker, Kunal Chauhan. Again, a hotelier with great experience, moved in from Bangalore, now in Mumbai. Kunal Chauhan is the general manager of the JW Marriott Mumbai Sahar, a hotelier of rich stock. Welcome to the show, Kunal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Pleasure. Sumit Suri. He's done years behind him across brands and across locations. He's just moved in from Kolkata to Mumbai. Sumit Suri, like I said, also doesn't need an introduction. The fraternity knows him. He's the general manager of the Westin Mumbai Garden City in Mumbai. Welcome to the show, Sumit.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in.
Pleasure. All right. So here we have now Hemant Teneti. Hemant has another fantastic asset. He's the cluster general manager for the Westin Mumbai Powai Lake and Lake Chalet Marriott Executive Apartments. Busy, he's doing a lot in hotelier, which I'm sure he will speak about sometime. Welcome to the show, Hemant.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for getting me here.
Thank you for being here. Another gentleman who's just moved in to Mumbai, all the way from Hyderabad, Manish Daya. Manish is the general manager of the Sofitel Mumbai BKC. Like his hair would say, he's put in a lot of years. Right. Welcome to the show. By the way,
namaskar, everyone. Thank you.
He's a Goa Marwadi in the hospitality business.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Bhuvnesh, and pleasure to be here with everyone. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Last but not the least, Harkaran Singh Sethi, Mumbai boy who's just come back from Delhi. Harkaran is the general manager of the Radisson Blu Mumbai International Airport. Welcome to the show, Harkaran.
All Thank you very much. Lovely to be here with everyone and very excited.
So without much ado, I am now going to hand over the baton to Mr. Bhalla for him to lead the show in with the very first question. Atul, the show is yours now. Muted, you're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna. Thank you for having us on the show. And I'm so happy to have such eminent panel to discuss that. So let's start. So how do you know when something becomes the norm? Trends in corporate sustainability have been mostly consistent. I always had a sense of corporate environmental stewardship growing and will be dominant someday. However, for this trend to have catapulted to long-term goals to impact theory is a welcome change. The discussion around what mostly now is called ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance, has become far more common for business than I've ever seen in my 3 decades of hoteliering. So the topic, what we have got in front of us, environment, sustainability, reduce, reuse, and recycle, are they merely fashionable terms in the hospitality industry? So we have an eminent panel, which Mr. Khanna has already introduced. So I'll not do the introduction all over again. So, but the panel, they all have spent enough time in various different chains and very, very experienced general managers here with us, with various different backgrounds and different roles and what they've done. So I will start with I'll start with Sumit. And the question to you, Sumit, is the initial investment a hurdle in adopting sustainability measures? And most importantly, is it such an expensive exercise to be sustainable, like setting up solar panels, electric vehicles, sources of renewable energy? So, Sumit, can we have some views from you?
Thank you, Mr. Bhalla. It's a great question, and I must say that my initial years, which started with ITC only, and I remember them talking about almost 10 years back about environment and its importance, and I think the kind of importance it had that point of time, a lot of hotels are doing it now, and it's great that the whole movement has happened across the country. So to your question, of course, we should all realize that climate action failure is recognized as one of the most important threat now, and buildings are actually contributing almost 40% of the global emissions, and even the raw materials being used in it. And it's not always about the ROI, which we always keep talking about, because we've already delayed in this front, and obviously someone needs to start in making changes. In view of the country's aggressive strategy that India wants to become carbon negative by 2070, I think most of the companies already have started bringing change in these measures and started also putting some investments so that they can contribute to this goal, which is a great thing, right? And it's also become India's mission to now become carbon negative, and I think that will flow through all the companies in a smooth manner. I want to break this question actually into two phases. We can look at investments as capex investments or as cost optimizations. Now, capex investments, for example, solar panels we are talking about, they are obviously currently an expensive affair. Not everyone can start putting solar panels immediately. But the government is trying to promote and motivate corporate companies to invest in solar power by providing exemptions, for example, in interstate transport of electricity. Also, 100% FDI is permitted now. The green energy corridor, for example, has been put in place to support the grid integration of large-scale renewable energies. And high-efficient solar panels are available today, both in OPEX or CAPEX models. They probably will have returns between 3 to 6 years, but a proper feasibility assessment needs to be done. The electrical cars, for example, on the other hand, are also expensive than their counterparts of petrol and diesel. There's obviously a huge interest right now, which India and even the world is showing. We all hear in the news about them coming over and entering the competition. And eventually, I think electrical cars will become more competitive and economical. CAPEX is high, but the OPEX is low. You have cars available today on rentals, which are completely run on electrical. Although the battery replacements are expensive, but that options are available, which people can implement from now on. But there's been also a growth in building up charging stations infrastructure, which across the country, which will only help to boost the sales of the electrical vehicles. Marriott is a great example to the commitment of this. We've in fact spoken about it. Almost all our hotels are committed to put electrical charging stations across each hotel in the city. Most of the hotels have already started, and some of them already finished it. So I think this is just the start to really build up this demand. On the other hand, everything doesn't need to be really expensive to be sustainable. That's what I believe. It's basically cost optimization on the other hand, which is important. It's basically an operational change, a cost adoption, and to increase efficiency and reduce carbon footprint. It's more of a mindset change, And honestly, sometimes sustainable becomes a very technical word, but I think when you start breaking down into smaller examples, you understand what it means. And small investments can have larger impacts, which we can look at to lead the change to sustainability. I'll give you a few examples which we're already doing. Hotels have tied up with companies now and set up glass bottling plant. A lot of hotels have started putting this model in place. And the good part is the model is available both in OPEX and CAPEX. So you really don't have to invest from day one. The vendor is ready to invest the entire amount and do a revenue share model or a cost share model. And I think a lot of hotels across Marriott have also started doing this and implementing it. Almost all hotels in India are now beginning to get compliant with the elimination of plastic packaging materials, which of course was a high demand during COVID, and straws and for the takeaway food options, and substituted with the use of eco-friendly packaging materials, which is a great positive impact on the environment. Also, a lot of migration is happening, for example, from diesel-driven machines in the laundry department to heat pumps or electrical-driven machines, which will have a great impact on the environment and save energy also. And again, the good part is that you have vendors available who are ready to invest entire money on this. You don't have to spend anything, and the option can be the ROI can happen in the next few years. Also, there are options of renewable energy, which is the mixed use of windmills and solar energy that can be bought from an open access power purchase agreements. These are available through power aggregators, and has been seen a considerable demand in most of the industry with high power usage. And this involves low capital. And through this, you can actually reduce the carbon footprints and also save costs by almost 15 to 20%. So the point I'm trying to make is that while there are certain investments to become sustainable by putting a lot of money, which earlier were only on CAPEX, and today you have OPEX models. But there's a lot more which you can do on smaller changes, which is a mindset change, and that can have larger impact. So I'll finish this question with a quote stating that ordinary people will save the world. So the strongest government on earth cannot clean up pollutions by themselves. They must rely on each ordinary person like you and me, on our choices and on our will. So over to you.
Very, very well said. It is us who has to do this, and that's the reason I think I must thank Mr. Khanna and BW Hotelier to bringing in such topics. It's very important. We only discuss about other revenue things and other parts of the hotel business, but this is very important to do that, and every industry needs to take part in that. And you said it's not only about ROI, but eventually it is going to help us in our businesses later. Yes, we have to do certain investments, but now since the awareness is so much and everybody is working towards that, so that is your OPEX, and apart from the CAPEX, OPEX models are also available. So that's very well put, Sumit. Thank you.
Atul, I'll just take a small break here. I forgot something. You can see I'm graying. So I need the introduction video of Diversey. So don't hold that against me. Salman, Prashant. Apologies. Thank you so much, Salman. Over to you, Mr. Balla.
Thank you. But that was a strategic timeout. All right. So now, Kunal, coming to you, my neighbor. So there is a dichotomy of going green without impacting guest experience for the top dollar spent on hotel experience. In your best observation, can you throw light on what does luxury mean in hospitality? And how challenging is it to get luxury DNA guests to follow sustainability steps compared with budget conscious guests? How can luxury go hand in hand with sustainability? Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Balla. Thank you for this question. I think I will first of all try and demystify what luxury is meant to us. And I think in my experience in over the last 2 decades, luxury has evolved already, and what we considered luxury. Luxury at one time meant safe, secure, clean, hygienic. And I think those are bare minimum necessities today, right? And I think we've evolved sometimes by choice, sometimes by being progressive, sometimes by our customers' demand, with luxury evolving into personalization. That would probably be the step one for me. I think it's about flexibility of everything that people wish to achieve. I think it's about frictionless travel, customizable itineraries. And then that turned a bit into experiential travel. And today, you consider any luxury hotel to be able to be safe, hygienic, have the best quality of supplies and amenities, whatever you touch around you. Of course, it has to be personalized, not only in terms of the product, but also services. And I think that's where the evolution actually started about good 10 years back when we started talking about experiential travel, right? Experiential travel basically for me meant exclusivity, getting insider knowledge into the place of travel or the culture, cuisine, whatever experiences you could take out of a trip, something new, hidden gems. And then all of a sudden, that's of course built in the wow factor into a travel. Of course, your hotel had to be better than your clients' regular homes. From there, when you start to talk about basically the whole experiential travel added another phenomena to it. And today people want to feel good about wherever they're traveling. And that's where it was the birth of responsible tourism somewhere. I think it's somewhere, the entire ESG movement somewhere started after the global meltdown and BlackRock CEO coming out and talking in a letter. And that's where the journey started from. And if you see 10 years back when somebody came and spoke about plastic bottle wastage, and a lot of GMs would have snickered in the corner saying, what is he talking about? And today, I think even after 10 years, we are still in the education phase, right? Education of our guests, education of our own self. Our kids are going to schools and coming back with a lot more discussions around sustainability, waste reduction, right? And I'm only addressing the E bit of the SNG, right? And I understand that. But this whole journey that we've been through has become also a requirement of our guests today. And it is considered that your travels around the world need to leave you with a feeling of you giving back to the society. So of course, it is today also, I won't consider it as a primary motive in decision making for our customers, but it's going to keep growing. It has already grown many folds in the last 1 decade, and it's going to continue growing, and it's going to become more and more imperative for us to be very cognizant of our customers' choice. So when you say how difficult or easy it is for our luxury travelers to adopt our sustainable initiatives, I think we as hoteliers don't ever enforce our choices onto our guests, but we are a very good medium for providing our customers if they wish to choose that as an alternative. So sustainability for a lot of our travelers today is an imperative, and they want to know about it, and they want to consider their options, and they want to know how much are they affecting the world with their travel, and whether it's good, a feel good feeling of you being contributing positively to your culture, cuisine, or rather your community around you within your travel. But these choices that we provide to our customers have actually been the driving force here. So today, when I see adoptions, any kind of a technology or choice or sustainability initiative we take, if it doesn't lead to our customer having to circle around and make an extra effort to try and comply, it is a quick win. So all your energy efficient measures, putting energy efficient light, chillers, all that is a no-brainer, right? It definitely contributes to the world, saves you power. It's a win-win. But when it comes to choices, our tags where we ask a customer if you need the towel to be changed, it requires a bit of an initiative. But when you see today, these are being appreciated with your customers. Our RFPs already carry these lines. If you are using energy, how compliant are you on your ESG initiatives? The entire environment piece is becoming more and more critical. So I think somewhere our job remains to provide our customers with the choice, which are better choices, good choices, and it affects the community and the environment in a positive manner.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, Kunal. Very well put. Certain points, what you mentioned about the most important point, which I picked up from your conversation, is that the choice, what you give it to the customer, it's his choice. But at the same time, we all know that when we fill up our RFPs and when we're talking, a lot of people are asking about our sustainability practices, isn't it? Most of the RFPs now have that column there, and very clearly the hotels who are following that, they are more favorable towards getting that business. And that's whether it is regular business, whether it is MICE, whether it's any kind of business. So everybody wants to contribute towards the environment. And that's a very important point. So very well put. Thank you. So we've heard, guest and investment. Karan, since you are captaining on the efficient and quick service turnaround in Radisson Blu Mumbai Airport Hotel, if you can critically chip in the kitchen operations side of sustainability, what would be your answer to sustainability in hotel kitchens? What are practically doable practices, and what are the difficult things to implement? Karan, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bala. It's a pleasure to be in this eminent panel. If I straight away dig deep into this subject, I think the kitchen becomes, of course, one of the most prominent aspects of sustainability. And if I have to put in a larger picture, right, we always say this, that hospitality is not a profession, but it's more of a lifestyle for us. And if it's a lifestyle, then we all need to do our bit to incorporate it into our daily routine, which also comes into your workplace, and you follow it on a day-to-day basis. So if I had to put it put some numbers across just to give an importance of this subject about food wastage in kitchen. You see, I was doing some survey and studying around it, and I realized that 1/3 of the entire food which is produced in India is wasted before even it's eaten. So if I have to put it in a simple number, it says close to about 50 kg of food per person per year has been wasted before even it's consumed. We're talking about, that's a huge number. And if I talk about the value of food wastage, it's close to about 92 kg crores per year. That's close to about 1% of the GDP getting depleted just because of the food wastage. So I think that's the importance of what our kitchen efficiencies and the food production brings in, and becomes a huge responsibility for all of us to look into it. So okay, now after throwing these heavy numbers, I think, as I said, always say that we need to keep things simple. And the subject is such that it can be as complicated and as technical as we can make it, or we can just keep it very basic so that we do our bit to make sure that every day those small tick in the boxes are done, so that we are moving closer to a better planet, right? It all starts from, for example, making sure that our supply chain is well sorted, right? Rather than doing supplying things from outside the country or outside your state. Why don't you focus on local ingredients and local supplies, and go local, go green, go and find some perishable products in your locality, which of course are high in value, but it helps you to reduce your carbon footprints, because then you reduce your transportation, logistics, cost, and indirectly, it helps you to make sure that you are giving your customers something very natural, organic food at the table. There are some initiatives like now, Government of India, Prime Minister has started this millet revolution, and I see a lot of our hotels are doing the millet brunches and then millet food festivals. And I think that these are some of the key initiatives which really help to put yourself aligned with the sustainable India. And then there are a few more initiatives. We, talk about repurpose of used cooking oil, making sure that the oil is not getting wasted. Entire vegan revolution, right? Going across all about your plant-based meat products, making sure that you have a proper vegan menu in your restaurants, making sure that you have your menus being seasonal, so that you're not buying anything inorganic and it's all natural. So you're changing your menus every 6 months down the line. And of course, something as basic as what Bhuvnesh said in the beginning, no bin cafeterias, right? And I think that's what, such a small initiative, but it brings so much of awareness among the employees that they can take multiple helpings, but you consume as much you want to, but take smaller portions so it's not wasted. And I think making sure that your garbage is getting weighed every day as per your occupancy. So you have a tracker and you have your chef, your F&B directors, have the KPIs dependent on what sustainability practices they're doing. Getting your breakfast with the cage-free eggs. But I think these are the small initiatives which I feel can really help to make your kitchen efficiencies more. We've actually gone one step ahead, and now we're saying that I think that all of this need to be started off right at the foundation level, right? For example, I was speaking to some principals of colleges, and I realized that why can't these subjects can be introduced during college practicals, and why can't be this as a subject of our hotel management curriculum, where when the students are doing practicals in their dummy kitchens, and this becomes an aspect of an awareness at that stage. And when you have new employees joining you, I think and this can be a part of your induction program, where every new joiner joining in the hotel, make sure that he goes through a complete sustainability pledge and practice, so that from day one he's aligned with the company's vision, and he moves towards for a better environment and a planet approach. So, Mr. Bala, I think that's a quick brief about the kitchen efficiencies.
It was very power-packed brief, Harkaran. Very, very informative, and the kind of data points you threw, that 1/3 of the food get wasted. It's an eye opener for everybody. And you spoke about local ingredients. You spoke about that the Prime Minister, the millet program. It's an indicator of what is being said. And yesterday, Mr. Khanna spoke about no bin cafeteria, what you mentioned just now. And then again, you said in the performance indicators for the food and beverage director and for the chef, if you have the wastage for part of it there, so obviously it gets us thinking what we need to do, and then sustainability subject in the education level and during the training level will also help. So it's overall awareness. So very well put. Thank you. So we move. Thank you. So Hemant, we saw very heavy duty rebranding of your hotel last year, and that too with Kareena. Yeah, Kareena Kapoor as a brand face. On the marketing communication strategy bit around environment stewardship. So my question to you is, in the present day marketing, what role does sustainability play in attracting guests? Difference in domestic and international guests' approach towards sustainability and the perception on brand communication. Over to you, Hemant.
Okay, good afternoon once again, and Bhuvnesh and the entire BW team, thank you for putting it together. Atul, probably the most well-chosen moderator in terms of representing ITC Hotels, because that's one company which over the years has been leading the change in terms of sustainability, right? We talk about benchmarking in terms of building qualities and building developments, and it starts from the core. So I think yes, we went and we are undergoing a major brand change with some eminent Bollywood celebrities. I'm sure Sumit also gained from it, from our campaign. The marketing, I was just thinking through when I was listening to everyone else speak. I think it's incredible where we stand today. And the reason I say that is, if this panel was to be held even 18 months back or just before COVID, we were still talking about what to do. We were still talking about plastic getting going, electric cars coming, or eliminating a few things here, doing open access electricity. I think we can say that at a very fast pace, many hotels have moved ahead in those aspects. Today, the water bottling plants are either installed or at least budgeted. Many companies have, or most companies have gone ahead and put those charging stations, or have been budgeted for and will happen. Plastic is got removed from brand standards. All companies now, and it's gone, it's done. Open access electricity, whether it's solar panel investment or open access from different parts, is part of KRAs, part of performance reviews, has already gone. So, 1.5 years back, you could use these as marketing tools, no more. These are now basics which a customer expects you to deliver. I think the more we get into the future, the marketing around sustainability needs to be about tangible, real difference that we as an industry are making. For years, let's accept it that hotels have been guzzlers of HVAC. We are an industry which are heavy on energy. That's at least city hotels. Resorts which do not have air conditioning separate, but most city hotels are. And today, if we want to really market ESG, every company, Marriott, Radisson, Accor, ITC, everyone has made promises to become net zero or reduce their net zero impact over the next 10, 15, 20 years. So that's a clear plan. The marketing of it, in my view, is real tangible changes. We cannot market, or we should not be marketing things which already are there everywhere. So, for example, at Marriott, I'm sure other companies are also doing it, but we are a pilot hotel for this. Hopefully, we claim to have, let's see what the future says, have been able to understand how to get the entire net zero bit into the event space. convention space. Now, that's a space that's been debated for a long time. How do we really measure it? Is there a tangible way to determine a net zero event? Debates all around, opinions all around. We are piloting it and seeing how we can achieve that movement in the right direction. We are talking about marketing. When I'm opening a new hotel, I think it's extremely critical to have brand standards defined right from the design stage of what the hotel will represent in terms of whether it's LEED certification of gold or platinum or whatever those certifications are. That's a marketable entity because it's expected that you are following the norms of the environmental system of the governance. So those are very critical elements that we need to move forward. I think as an industry, we have made fabulous progress in the last few years. At least 2-3 years has been exponential. Maybe COVID helped us, but I do think we've sort of now at a stage where very few of us maybe know what else to be done next. What is the next big thing that needs to come? So all the, if I may call them low-hanging fruits, have been plucked and we have sort of moved ahead and we are celebrating success and we should. But the real difference will only come when we are able to get as close to net zero as possible. And that in our industry is a long run. And anything that we do in that direction, which is measurable, should be marketed. And that's my view. Coming to international versus domestic, Atul, my view is I don't think the demographic is based on international and domestic. I think the demographic is more towards today's traveler versus maybe the age group. You do find younger travelers being entitled to a experience which has sustainability elements. Right? There's a lot more need, understanding. I was talking to a very young graduate from finance from IIM about 5 days back. He had come to the hotel, young VP of a startup. He, in his investment mindset, was very clear that if he's putting in money that he earns in some company, he's going to do research on ESG more than anything else. That's going to determine how much money he puts in for the company or buys or sells shares of that company. I think that mindset, which is changing in today's customer, is very different to a customer who's probably a little older or trying to understand ESG. So I think the demographic is more based on age and the type of traveler that is coming today rather than country to country. I don't think it differs country.
Great. So it is obviously the Gen Y and the youngsters who are going to drive our future. That's very clear. And you made a point that the younger generation, this generation, they feel entitled for these sustainable experiences, and that's becoming a norm. So obviously, somewhere education is working, somewhere all that campaigns are working. So, but again, this is still at a very at a crema level, which is working, but it needs to go down to the grassroots. It needs to go down to the masses. That's where things will start happening. So, but yes, at the moment we're talking about hotel industry, and then we know who our clientele are, and we'll do whatever we need to do to make the difference in the society and towards sustainable practices. So thank you for bringing in this aspect. So my first round, the last question to Manish. What is the biggest challenge in going green? What is the long-term and short-term impact in going green according to you and the environment you work in?
Right. Bonjour, namaskar, everyone, and pleasure to be here amongst all the eminent panelists. And thank you, Bhuvnesh and Diversey and Atul for inviting me as well. Pleasure. I think for me, if you ask me, the biggest challenge in going green is undoubtedly the initial investment, but bigger than that, the challenge is the mindset. I think while sustainable practices may require some upfront cost, but they definitely yield significant long-term benefits. And probably in short-term benefits, going green may involve adjustments in processes and probably procedures, but it definitely leads to immediate positive impacts, such as reduce energy consumptions that we spoke of, waste reduction that probably Harkaran spoke of, improved resource efficiency. So that's the next one for us to be aware of. And these short-term benefits actually contribute not just to cost saving, but also to the improved brand reputations and increased guest satisfactions to probably justify some of the points that Kunal highlighted as well as part of what luxury means. But I think something which I wanted to share, and probably it's a second such call with Bhuvnesh and Harkaran, and probably I was looking out for some information that could connect all of us based on why this call, why going and talking about green sustainability. Some of the facts which I came across and which is purely related to us in our industry is that it is a must for our industry as tourism, because we are now responsible together for almost 9 to 12% of greenhouse gas emissions. I am sure all of us will agree that 80% of the travel and tourism industry goods and services are highly dependent on nature. I think, for like what Harkaran highlighted, it's not just about India, but I think globally 1/3 of the food produced goes as waste, and which definitely impacts the natural resources available. And I think something for us to be aware of even more is that 44% of the waste now comes from food and greens, which is much ahead of probably paper and card, which would have initially heard of many years ago, which now stands at 17%. Plastic is at 12% and probably metal 4%, but May ahead is 44% comes from food and greens. Coming back to our question and circling back in terms of the long term, going green ensures the well-being of the future generations and the sustainability of our planet. And speaking about this, probably sustainability means what? And it means, different for each one of us. But probably it is about, ensuring that not just the availability of the resources for us today, but without compromising on the ability of the same resources being available for the future. I think by embracing sustainable practices, we definitely take a step ahead towards our commitment of ensuring that we do protect the environment as responsible citizens, as hoteliers, reduce our carbon footprints, and probably even contribute to the global efforts in combating climate change, because today's weather is just a short way of understanding the difference between what the weather is kind of today to what probably the climate it will be in the years ahead. So probably we have to do that balance as a responsibility that we all carry on our shoulders. And going green also strengthens our social impact by supporting the local communities, promoting diversity and equal opportunities, and fostering partnerships with NGOs. Moreover, I would say adopting to sustainable practices positions us as leaders in the industry and attracts eco-conscious guests who actively seek out for environmentally friendly accommodation. And another fact for here to share is that ecotourism is a fast-growing trend and also a lookout filter for bookings used, as that is where you can start differentiating yourself as against probably the competition and everybody else. And I think if I may add, I think with the rise of in ecotourism and the growing demand for sustainable options, going green becomes a competitive advantage that definitely sets us apart. And I'm sure while there may be challenges in implementing sustainable practices, because sometimes it is the mindset, sometimes probably for many of us, it is the cost impact, but the long-term impacts are highly significant and far reaching as per my opinion. And by prioritizing sustainability, we definitely create a better future for everybody and probably even the generations to come, and contribute to the overall well-being of our planet. And I'm sure it definitely establishes ourselves as responsible and forward-thinking leaders in the hospitality industry.
Thank you. Thank you. So very well covered in terms of, yes, it is a It is capex is high at times when you need to do that, but that's a long-term returns. It's a ROI. Maybe it's going to take a gestation period is much longer, but not only you taking care of the future. All of you would have seen that video which was circulating around where first the elders were sent with crayons to do a painting, and by the time kids came in, they only did black and white because there was no color left. What a beautiful message. So I think what you're talking about is that entire thing encapsulates that very clearly. So very good, very well put. Thank you.
Atul, can I slip in one to you?
Sure.
All right, so here I go. So ITC needs no introduction. You guys, like Hemant was saying, you've done so much, be it LEED certification or going carbon neutral. Tell me, you lord over a large region and portfolio. How do you drive sustainability across the length and breadth of the assets? This, despite the high standards, like I said, of ITC hotels, and the fact that you have almost half the country with you between the east and the west.
So thank you for asking. So I joined this organization's beautiful company 25 years back, and this was built in the DNA. So it is the way of working. I've seen it from the very first day in the company when I joined it. But the last 12, 13 years, in 2010, in its endeavors to environmental stewardship, responsible luxury program, underscoring on water waste, energy and carbon management, reduction across our 115 hotels, around 80 destinations were set up, which meant for us consciously build hotels and hotel operations that are planet positive from bottom up funnel. So there is a 680 pointer measurable metric which we follow, with the zero plastic, water recycling, green building norms, environment, health and sustainability points, 0 mile sourcing, clean energy, waste recycling and consumer journey goals for every hotel and of the brand. So this journey over last 13 years, which is a very concentrated journey, which we did. So there are certain indicators. I have a data point, so I'd like to take you through that. So 22 hotels of ITC are LEED Platinum certified by US Green Building Council, which is probably the largest in the world. ITC Shonar and ITC Mughal in Agra and ITC Shonar in Kolkata are the LEED Net Zero Water certification. There's 2 hotels in the world. Renewable energy generated annually by us enough to light up national highway between Srinagar to Kanyakumari for a year. We annually offset carbon emission equivalent to carbon footprints by flying across the globe more than 4,000 times. We treat and recycle enough water annually to irrigate 1 lakh trees, which aids in sequestering approximately 95,000 tons of carbon dioxide. ITC hotels have mitigated usage of single-use plastic approximately 2.5 lakh kg per year, offsetting approximately 6,25,000 kg of carbon dioxide emission produced in the manufacturing. And 12 hotels of ours which got certified last year for carbon net zero. Hot water generated annually by us through renewable resources is equivalent to the requirement of 20,000 families per year. Recently, all our hotels have achieved 100% of 2030 GHG, greenhouse gases emission targets that are aligned with the Paris Agreement. So few of the best practices, we have our self-owned wind and solar farms across India. We have where we cover almost 60% of energy requirement from the renewable resources. And going forward, we are looking at taking that up to 95% in the next 5 years' time. Organic waste converters, that means zero waste discharge. So entire food waste, entire wet waste, horticulture waste gets converted into a manure, and that gets used in the horticulture purposes. And we also give it to anybody who requires that. Using treated recycled water, flushing, landscape, cooling tower, exterior cleaning, etc. So that's what we help reducing 80% of water wastage in backwash. mandatory in-house biogas plants. That's what we have started in quite a few hotels. At ITC Maratha, we have one here, so which is used very well. Then reduce dependency on the local sourcing of water by producing his own drinking water through atmospheric water technology. That is to produce in-house drinking water by capturing moisture from the air, and from our Shunya Aqua 1 was where we did the bottling plants. Now this is Shunya Aqua 2.0 initiative. That's what we're doing.
So I also think there is a good case for the industry collaborating and making a body where you can all sit down together and learn from each other and champion it across brands and across locations. What do you say, Atul?
So this was my next point.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is we're proud to be associated with the this company. We're ready to share our research best practices with the industry for adaptation and help them adapt it, so that everybody gains from it.
Brilliant.
So that was the last point I had.
So I guess I preempted you, but yeah, I mean, this thing is in Hindi. I would say if you want to succeed with environment, you need to be a conduce, right?
Yeah.
You've got to be a miser. So all right, so I'm going to take a quick short break, and our next we're actually up on time, so our next responses are going to be shorter. But let's bring in Diversey again. Prashant. Thank you, Prashant. Back to you, Mr. Balla.
Thank you. So now Manish, I ended up with you. I'll start with you in the second round. So the question to you is, out of the box idea that set you apart. Quick response.
So I would say our approach involves building a model where we contribute more than we take. Definitely, we understand that sustainability is not just, I would say, an individual effort, but a collective responsibility for all of us. Of course, there are many initiatives that I can speak of, but just to make it simple for everybody's understanding, I think at this stage, we have three key focus or priority areas relating to our business, which is to probably stay, eat, and people. And this also involves a few processes. So I'll give you a quick examples of some initiatives, probably in terms of digitally that we have adopted recently and embraced is getting rid of all the internal paperwork to help reduce use of paper. Simple examples for all of us to relate is probably your voids, your allowances, your paid out vouchers, com forms, etc. I think all our leaves and attendance is now done digitally. So we use a software and a platform where it's very easy for us and paperless. I think for a lot of us, loyalty is the key. I think we now have boxes on the table which have quick and easy formats for the guests to earn and burn points and also do their payments. I think when it comes to services, I think some of it is already mentioned. 30% of our car fleets are now EV cars, plus we also have charging stations available at the hotel. Apart from everything else, open access, windmill energy, I think 70% sustainable with the partners that we have. Completely hotels with no more single-use plastic, including water and any kind of tolerances. Simple example, replaced with wooden brushes, combs, shaving kits, and so on. We have some great partners, including Diversey, where used soaps are now part of our CSR, which is to do with Soap for Hope. Linen reuse. Again, partner with Diversey to speak of, since we are part of this forum. We have graduated to offering wooden key cards, but we also have hotels, including our newly launched hotel in Mumbai, which has gone with digital key cards as offerings. I think F&B, like I said, something to do with eat. Apart from tracking manually so far, we have now embraced with something called Vino, where we will make sure that it is digitally tracked in terms of the waste management, which will also help us track and reduce waste management, going in for cage-free eggs, no endangered species as part of our menus, not just here, but anywhere across. Bottling plant, another great example. You'll find glass bottles being used not just in rooms, but across the F&B and including banquets with high footfalls. And I think next important element is to do with people. That's where it's very important. We have a champion in place, which is where we make it a success story by having a committee in place so that we share responsibilities to make sure that every initiative that is embraced by us as Accor, as Sofitel, we are able to deliver it and make sure we embrace it full-heartedly. We have a wonderful software where we update our water usage, energy usage, which kind of keeps telling us what's the next initiative that we need to do. We had a wonderful initiative and platform where our hotels used to be certified internally, which was Planet 21. But now all our hotels are going in for external certifications through Green Key and Green Globe, so that we are transparent and we are able to share all the initiatives that we practice at the hotel level. I think something to connect with people. I think we also have a wonderful platform where all our team members and ambassadors, whom we call friendly and our artists, they are enrolled with an app which is all about employee well-being and assistance program, because in the current scenario and the uncertain times, there is definitely a spike in stress, anxiety, and definitely everybody burns out. And I think it is very important to manage that personally and work-related issues, which is elevating through the stress and anxiety levels. And definitely this helps them in building resilience. I think great local community and partnerships, probably I can give you names. We have a strong partnership with Deeds. Today we speak about Diversey, but it's no more about men and women. It is also embracing the other important elements of Diversey. And one of the very important element apart from LGBTQ+ is also differently abled, who have special abilities in them. We now have 2% of our team. So as we speak, we have 14 members, and we partnered with a local NGO called Deeds, who helps us to develop the skills required for them to be onboarding. We also have somebody who helps us probably, understanding them and also helping us to translate so that we also get used to them. So they are here with us. We have proper trainings, not just for them, but also for all the team members, so that we can, put together a great working environment and bring together all of us together. Another, I think, great partnership that we have is with another NGO that I speak of is Gunj, where we work along with them. We partner with them to give them all the used linen. And in return, not just for used linen professionally or from the hotel perspective, even personally, if you give them any of your old coats, they give you 2 bags, cloth bags in return. So it's not just about give, it's also about getting some form of take for probably a fantastic initiative. And I think Harkaran probably spoke about it. Very important aspect that it is now part of our KPIs, just to make sure that we take equal responsibility for all our initiatives and ensure that we do our best and celebrate every success with each and every one and all the ambassadors on board. And probably lastly, for us to be aware of all the initiatives, for our team members and artists to be aware of what is going on, how are we advancing, what is the current status. We have our training modules, online and digital platforms available called Inis, where all of us have access to every training module which is available for us. And probably that's the best way to, I would say, educate and bring in awareness. And I think most importantly, when you get that certificate and when you get certified, it also gives you that positive feel that you are also part of something really great, and ensures sustainable training for probably all school of change that is the need of the hour. I think that's what I can share at this point in time.
Thank you, Manish. I'm so heartening to know there's so much to say, and we are running out of time. But it's very heartening to know what you're doing. So it's fantastic. Great. So next, I'll be very quick now. So Kunal, over to you. How do you ensure that hotels, your hotel team buy-in and the adaptation?
So Mr. Balla, I think as me and Hemant both work for Marriott, which is already a very progressive company when it comes to ESG initiatives, it is sometimes very good to run a hotel and operate a hotel for a company like Chalet, which is even more demanding, wanting to excel in this space. Some of the commitment that our owning company has made on Climate Group as a member of Climate Group, whether on EP100, whether on RE100 or EV100 or various other platforms, I think would have, when they were making these commitments, would have felt very, very challenging and daunting, and we wouldn't have known how to achieve them. But I see the transformation already in my 2 years here. I see the fact that, we could have moved very fast alone, but when we've taken people together, when we've done the hard work of bringing people together, spreading the education, and actually, I think it starts with the topmost leadership, how people lay down their expectation, how they are made, accountability is driven down the line, then the process of education. I think today, if you see the speed at which Chalet as well as Marriott is committing into our actionable points or what we have committed as part of 2030 targets, we're way ahead of those targets. And I think it's without a doubt that at some stage, me and Mr. Balla will again be on a show and where our numbers would make him a bit envious, like I am of his numbers today. But these are some serious commitments which are being made. So I think as much as top leadership, middle leadership, as well as the teams are not aligned, a lot of this is about recording, measuring, and then constantly monitoring to achieve targets, as well as commitment from top leadership to be able to spend towards these CapEx or OpEx and being progressive. So I would say that a lot of our efforts have gone into educating, monitoring, constantly celebrating the success of various teams which achieve these numbers, right? And making the entire ecosystem of the hotel think in these terms of sustainability and sharing every achievement, innovation throughout the hotel. And I think that also addresses a very important part of our employment criteria, where people want to not only do jobs, but they want to be a part of a company which is giving back. And I think that's a very important thing that we managed to achieve over the time. And that's pretty much it. And I think the entire team's alignment is extremely important in achieving success in something as fundamental as ESG, right?
So it's very, very nice to note that it's not only Marriott, but even the owning company is driving. So you got a double engine.
Yeah, it's a very powerful double engine.
Yeah, that's very good. It's excellent to hear that. Hemant, over to you. It's said that change begins at home. Does the sustainability compliance have your personal and family support? And is it practices in your life at every level?
Trying to change every day, Atul. That's all I can say. I think all of us are wanting to do it. Many of us are learning every day. I can share one personal thing that we consciously did. This was about 18 months back. We got rid of plastic at our home. My home is plastic free.
Fantastic.
Yes, plastic free. There's no plastic. We don't use plastic. We don't buy plastic. We felt very good that week because it makes you feel good. So at a personal level, is my car electric yet? No, but I hope to have it soon. I think all of us want to get there, and I think it's important that we adapt this lifestyle. I want to end by that. My daughter, who's now going to college, adapts this lifestyle. You can see, like I told you about Gen Z, and we spoke about it, right? The adaptation is much better in the younger generation. With our generation, we need to work faster to adapt and start enjoying the lifestyle. I think once we start enjoying the lifestyle, we will be part of the lifestyle. So yeah, at a personal level, commitment 100%, efforts 100%, we get it.
Even the result will be 200% very soon.
Yes.
Absolutely. Great to hear that. So, Harkaran, over to you. Just 5 big steps taken to reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Thank you, Mr. Bungal. So I think quickly, a lot has been already covered. If I just talk about a few initiatives now, as a Radisson Hotel Group, we're working very closely with the International Finance Corporation to bring in some technology regarding the climate smart technology, which will be a solution to improve the cost and energy efficiency of the cooling. Like mentioned by yourself about the water from air initiative. So we have already started moving on that. We've done a pilot in one of our hotels, and which has been very successful. And we are going to implement that initiative across all our hotels. Also with the global brands and some global organizations, Radisson has launched the Sustainability Basic organization, which talks about all the aspects of sustainability in 3 different buckets, like many of us have mentioned. We have defined our buckets between efficiency, planet, and people, which of course covers up the entire gamut of sustainability, right from energy, water, waste, carbon emission, using or reducing your SUP, your vegetable options, your linen reuse program, your soap for hope programs. So all of that has been taken up. Of course, RSG is committed to be net zero by 2050, 100% carbon neutral meeting and event space across the globe, offsetting close to about 60,000 tons of CO2 emission. One of the things which we've also done is that we have now a very robust sustainability team sitting out for corporate office, who are making sure and measuring the carbon emissions from every hotel, and there are set KPIs given to all the general managers, making sure that we are on the track on the sustainability initiatives. And another thing which we're really now focusing on is the development of our hotels. I think and I think some of us have mentioned this, that if you really want to have a sustainable hotel, it all starts from signing the right hotel at the right place. So the design of the building, the orientation of the building, is it exposed to the maximum daylight or airflow? Will it help to reduce your carbon emission during the longer run of the hotel? And I've been very fortunate. I was part of one of the first hotels in ITC Gardenia at the pre-opening, and I think that was a hotel which really set the benchmark in those days. With the non-air conditioned lobby, having the air tunnel in the lobby center. I think all of that is now coming in with all our brands, and we are very happy. So I think it's been a privilege, and thank you for the opportunity. I hope we've added some value to your question.
More than
thank you.
Much more than that. You beautifully summed up your 5 big steps. So thank you. Sumit, how big is it a challenge to make an existing asset sustainable, and how would you do it? You're on mute.
Yeah. No, thank you for this question. In fact, this is a very apt question because there are some practices we are doing at the existing hotel, which is a 14-year-old product right now. So I thought this question would be quite nice, and it was for the last few months. I think here we've been doing a lot of work. First of all, is it a challenge to make an existing asset sustainable? The answer is no. It can be done, but it has to be evaluated. What stage the MAP equipments are in. Is it the midlife or end of life? We know hotels are usually made for 15, 20, 30, 40 years. Which stage are you in? And then you need to evaluate because there are obviously some investments required. If it's the end of life, then obviously you can get into more efficient systems and they can have great incremental savings for you. If it's midlife replacement, then obviously a feasibility study. Sometimes it may not make sense to jump into certain things without understanding the impact of it. Generally, we all know that energy cost is the biggest, with chiller contribution as the highest within the energy cost. And efficient systems can reduce the chiller running cost by almost 40%, and returns can be between 4 to 6 years. So I think, again, as I mentioned, to be sustainable, we need to look at, and what I started with my first question, we need to look at 2-pronged approaches. Everything is not about huge investments. There's certain things which can require minimal capital investments and offer maximum exposure to overall cost savings. which would run more efficiently by using renewable energy options. And also, of course, a lot of work practices can be changed within associates. So a lot of training is required. I would like to give an example of our own hotel at the Western Mumbai Garden City. We actually formed a sustainable committee recently. This committee actually is committed to do few things which we need to, which we can do at our own level, which requires minimum investments. And then, of course, we have help from our owning company where we would require to put in extra investments to go big on sustainability. Some of the things we've already started doing, as I mentioned in my first question, the glass bottling plant is already in place. Things like cage-free eggs is there. All our, for example, the food wastage now is tracked into a system called Mesh. So it's no more manual tracking. It's a proper computerized system. It tracks on a daily basis of how much wastage the hotel is going through. And also, we have implemented the organic waste converter. No bin days, of course, are something which are now part of the rituals. But I think the first and foremost of even tracking and putting into a system gives you an accurate information of whether you're really improving on your waste management or not. Because sometimes data can be, if it's not tracked properly, it'll give you it's garbage in, garbage out. Same thing with water intensity. We started tracking into the same system called Mesh. And these helps us to understand what is the kind of water usage we are using across the hotel. Of course, we have equipped with hotel aerators, sensor faucets, dual flush systems across the hotel, effective use of STP, which most of the hotels, I'm sure, across the country are already doing. PNG gas, for example, is an effective way to reduce, reduce consumption and the use of tearing in the rooms. Residential bath amenities was one big initiative, which not only our hotel, but across Marriott has happened. We all know almost all 8,000 hotels across the world have now gone into residential bath amenities where actually they fixed up bath amenity bottles on the wall, which was the first step taken. And this was across the all brands from luxury to select. And that's, I'm sure, is a huge saving in plastic. Plant-based menu, seafood programs, we've all spoken about it, so I'm not going to take it. Millets is, of course, another example which we all spoke about it, and we know that also it affects positively the environment. The other thing which we are doing now, and again, classic example to the question you've had is, we are actually, we've about almost 6 months back, we applied for the LEED certification. Now, this is a 14-year-old hotel, right? It has already an existing asset in place. And what happened was that, of course, they, in the LEED certification, which is the leadership in energy and environment design, we all know that they monitor certain aspects of energy, water, waste, transportation, and human experiences. And energy is one of the most critical parameters. There are different scores you have to have in the LEED to get different certifications. Something like more than 80 points will help you to get a platinum certifications. And the data is taken across 12 months. So it's not about a single month, it's about across 12 months, so that they understand that how the asset is doing. So our hotel, which is a 14-year-old hotel now, actually
I think we'll move with the next. He'll come back. Yeah.
So I think with the round of questions,
okay, Sumit is back. Yeah, Sumit.
Yeah, sorry. Did you lose me?
Yeah, just for a moment.
Yeah, so I know I was coming with the last point. I was talking about that being a 14-year-old hotel. This hotel is now actually applied for a LEED certification from the US Green Building Council. And we worked hard for the last few months. There were certain metrics which we had to give, certain changes we had to bring in. And hopefully in the next few months, this hotel will be announced as a LEED certification, and probably will have a green certification from the US Green Building Council. And I think that's a big step for the hotel towards sustainability. And when you start understanding the hotel, which is 14-year-old or a 15-year-old hotel, which is getting into and becoming sustainable, I'm sure a lot of assets which are old, by making few changes in the systems, by understanding what are the kind of impact you need to do, there are a lot of places across the country which will become LEED certified. And the moment you're LEED certified, of course, you're in compliance with a lot of sustainable initiatives. So yeah, so that's what it is. I'll leave with this quote, another one, that they decide what impact you will have on the world today. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sumit. You are really leading the way. So that's very, very heartening to note that your hotel is going to be a LEED certified hotel very, very soon. So that's very heartening to know. And believe me, it's been such a pleasure being part of this panel, and such high energy and such beautiful ideas and so much of passion which has gone around with each one of them. We could have gone on for a couple of hours, but obviously we always have a time, but that we can do it over a drink sometime, isn't it?
We are coming back to Mumbai for our in-person roundtable, so I'm sure you'll host us.
Yes, of course.
Right. So here I have a buy-in. Okay. So are we done with all the questions now?
We are done.
All right. So super. Before we close, before I sum it up, I again want the Diversey video, Prashant and Salman. So when we went out looking for someone to partner with us, so we were surprised that Diversey was already there with us, holding our hand and walking us through the paces. And happy to have them partner with us for this show. Thank you, Diversey. Thank you, Atul. Thank you, Kunal, Sumit, Hemant, Harkaran, Manish. It's been an absolutely delightful session. How do I sum it up? I'm somebody who's a miser at heart when it comes to wasting anything, be it water, electricity, food, right? We've just got to have the right portions. I mean, think of it, we're all actually middle-class children, right? Who made it in life. So where have we shed off our middle-class values? I think we need to hold it back tight again. I know a couple of Fauji's over here. Kunal is a Fauji son, right? Who else is a Fauji, right? So we know how we worked on budgets. If we make budgets, we've got to make budgets for energy, for food. Food is energy, right? And we've got to hold in tight. I at times feel criminal when I walk out of a 5-star for a lavish meal, after a lavish meal, and I see somebody poor standing out with their hands spread. So I think we've got to be conscious. I did mention the case of a very senior general manager who's now not in India. He removed, like Harkaran and Atul were saying, he had removed bins from the staff cafeteria for lunch. He told everybody, whatever portion you put in your plate, finish it, nothing goes to waste. Having said that, thank you all for your contribution. It's been absolutely amazing. I shall just briefly introduce the next session tomorrow. Be there. Tomorrow is the second show with Mumbai general managers. Here it is. We have Melvin Saldana, we have Sameer Sood, we have Shubhrajit Bardhan, we have Vishal Gupta. We shall be debating another very interesting topic, which is people practices, talent, nurturing, and leadership development. So this is, again, hospitality rides on strong pillars, and the pillars are people, talent, people, talent. You're as good as the people you have, you're as good as the talent you have, and the talent is on display today. These gentlemen are future leaders. They will be CXOs soon. They'll be, of course, Atul is already head in the line. But yeah, I have some very important flashes. Somebody just messaged me that there are a whole lot of ITC boys there. So they told me, I knew about Sumit. Then there's any Manish Bhai is also ITC. Kunal also started with ITC. Harkaran also started with ITC. That leaves Hemant out. So you already have the environment and sustainability seats there. Thank you all. Thank you for your time. It's really been a pleasure. I would also like to thank the BW team at the back end, led by Tanvi herself, Salman, Prashant, Shweta, all of you, Ajit, Saurabh, Bulbul, Amit, Nilesh. Thank you all. Thank you for making it possible. And see you all soon in person. We'll be coming to Mumbai for a roundtable. Bye-bye.
Definitely. Wishing everybody a magnificent evening. Thank you. Bye.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.